Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to yet another session of Aries Kids Career Designing Program. Today we have our special mentor, Miss Nivedya Sohanroy. She is our Chief Happiness Officer who will be taking a section. Welcome, ma'am, to start the session. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, hello. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Today I will be replacing my dad, and I'm actually very excited to be here. So, thank you for the opportunity to everyone. Well, today it's going to be a completely different topic. I have no idea what you guys have in the syllabus. So, I thought, you know what, let's change things up a little bit. So, the topic that I've chosen for today is something very, very close to my heart. It's something that I truly believe in, and I feel this is something that everybody needs to think about, or at least start thinking about, or start practicing from now onwards. Because I wish someone told me about this when I was your age. So the topic is who you are becoming starts with what you choose. I'll repeat that again. Who you are becoming starts with what you choose. Now, what does that mean? Okay, let me first start with the story, and I will start with my story. So, as you all know, one of the most common stories, or a story that the CEO talks about a lot, is he pretty much shares how I had a wrong career design because I initially wanted to go for something that I was passionate about, and my parents did not really take it seriously, or they did not guide me in the right direction. So I did my engineering, I did my bachelor's, I did my master's, and then I shifted careers and I went to do clinical hypnotherapy. And I was really good at it, and I'm great at it, and I loved it. So, from my parents' perspective, every time they see this, or they see me, or they listen to my journey, what they think is, oh my God, we made the biggest mistake. We should have guided them in the right direction, or they have a lot of regret, especially when their children change paths, right? Any parent would have. It's absolutely normal. But for me, on the other hand, I never ever saw it as a mistake. I never saw it as a regret. If anything, it was the greatest blessing. Now, this message can be a little bit confusing. So you must be thinking, okay, so do we not need a career design? Do we need a career design? What's the right approach? So I'm not here to say what is right or wrong, what you should have, what you shouldn't have. I'm going to talk a little bit about a different aspect. One of the most common emotions that we all face is fear. Whether it's fear of exams, whether it's fear of making the right decision, wrong decision, right? Does anybody resonate with that? Does anybody agree with that? If you do, just put your hand up. Who has a fear that, every now and then, whether it's exams? Okay, we have a couple of people. Yeah, a lot of people have fears, right? So whenever we are scared, what do? We avoid it. We don't want to do it. We want to stay far from it. We want to say, you know what? No, I don't want to do that. But some way or the other, if it's exams, you have to find a way to go through it. But you manage to do it, right? So our entire life, our parents are wired to keep us safe. Our parents only want the best for us. Our parents only want us to be safe, secure, and that is what their priority is. And they're absolutely right about that. That is why this whole session, the CEO doing these sessions about career design, your parents asking you to join this, is because they want you to have the best. They want that security for you. As great as that is, somewhere along the line, we forget about the benefits of doing things that make us scared, doing things that is out of the ordinary, doing things that is probably unsafe. Because when you think about it, the only way you can build courage or resilience is when you do something that you're really, really scared of and you feel like you cannot do it, but you find a way to manage it. And then you keep doing this over and over and over, and then it becomes easier. But until and unless you take that first step, which everyone probably tells you, don't do that. This might happen, that might happen. And if you listen and you don't trust your gut feeling and you just listen, then that option will always be in the back of your head. Okay, what if I tried? Whereas if you just listen to your gut feeling, you overcame that fear and you just did it, then the end road can be completely different. So the story that I wanted to share is when I was after I did my engineering, 5 years, did my master's, did my bachelor's, I started working at Aries. This was always the plan, you know. I study, go to university, I start the family business, and I work. I did not think about anything else. But once I started working, that's when I realized there's something inside that said, no, something's not right. I'm not enjoying this. And I still tried. I kept doing it, but that voice inside your head, it kept getting louder and louder and louder. That's when I was like, okay, I need to try something. I didn't ask my mom or dad. I said, I'm going to do this. Let me try. Just take the risk. Let me see. I still had my job, but I was doing it on the side. And that's when I started studying psychology, hypnotherapy during the weekend. So I would work 5 days in a week. During the weekend, when I had time off, I started studying all these things because I found it very interesting. I never found it boring. And then after a year or 2 years, I got certified. I never did this because I wanted to change my career. I never did this because I wanted to do no, I just did it because I enjoyed it. And then all of a sudden, I someone offered me a job to be a therapist. And I took it. And then I started working and I ended up being very good at it. And it was only when my parents started seeing that, okay, she's doing really good, that's when they realized, oh, wow, this is something that she's good at. This is something that she should have done. So, what I'm trying to say is until and unless you explore, until and unless you have that courage to do something that your inner voice is telling you to do, you will never know. And the whole world will tell you, don't do it. This is not worth it. That is not worth it. But as much as you should listen to them, there's always an inner voice that is guiding you in some direction that you should never stop listening to. So I would like to hear now just one person. I'll pick someone. I want someone to tell me what is the biggest fear that they've had. One big fear that they've had. And I want you to tell me what that is. Anyone who wants to share?
Ma'am, I used to have stage fright.
Okay.
I don't know if it is gone yet or it is still there. It's kind of in the middle of the stage, but I I am performing more performances on the stage, and I'm kind of getting used to it.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit more about this stage fright? Like when you feel this, how does it feel like in the body? Tell me more about that.
Uh, in my perspective, once I had a performance for character sketch, and I was one of the characters in my book. When I got to the stage and I started speaking, my legs started shivering.
Mm-hmm.
My mind went completely blank, but somehow I managed it.
Mm-hmm.
I had planned on doing actions with my hands to make it more interesting. That did not happen.
Yeah.
and overall, I tried to do what I planned, but half of it did not work.
Yeah. And then, did you ever go on stage again afterwards?
Yeah, I have went on stage plenty of times after that.
So you never stopped yourself, right?
No.
Okay. Now I'm going to use you as an example. What's your name again? Hari Nandan, right?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what Hari Nandan did and what he explained, it's an excellent example of how to improve the size of your ACC, which is your anterior cingulate cortex. Now, your anterior cingulate cortex is a part of your brain, right? And it's a part that deals with both the emotional side and your logical thinking side. And it's a small part of your brain. Now, this part of your brain can only develop and grow in size only and only when you do things that you don't want to do, when you do things that make you scared, when you do things that are hard. Every time you avoid doing something or you stay in your comfort zone, this part of the brain stays small. So, when they've done a study, every athlete, all athletes, and when they looked at that part of the brain for them, that part is a lot larger for athletes than the normal human being. Why? Because any athlete, if you look at their lifestyle, it requires discipline. It requires performance. It requires them pushing themselves to an extent that is way beyond their comfort zone. Now, if you look at an average person's life, the minute a human being has a rhythm or a system in their life, they wake up every day, you have a routine, you wake up at the same time, you go to school, and you already know what to predict. You naturally go into a comfort zone. The minute you go into your comfort zone, then that part, your ACC, stops growing. And this is a part that allows you to take decisions better. This is a part of the brain that allows you, anytime, let's say, resistance to addiction, resistance to stress, your ability to handle emotions, all of this comes from this part of the brain. So, what am I trying to tell you here as well? Using your fear as a resource is probably one of the uh, biggest goals I feel that anyone should have in life. Which means right now, I want you to take 1 minute, okay? I want you to write your top 3 fears that you have. Everyone. Top 3 fears. Number 1, number 2, number 3. What are your top 3 fears?
Stage fright, the first
Okay?
one, title.
Yeah.
Exams,
Okay?
and doing something wrong and not being able to correct it afterwards.
Okay. So, yeah. So, stage fright, exams, and doing something wrong and not being able to correct it. Okay. Good. Anyone else?
Losing your
Can I
loved
speak?
one.
Who is that?
Fida.
Okay. Yeah. So, Fida, tell me.
Losing your loved ones.
Okay.
Exams.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Another person who wants to share?
Can I speak?
Yeah. Go ahead.
My number 1 is fear of failures.
Fear of failure. Okay.
Number 2, fear of getting embarrassed.
Okay.
And third, fear of snakes.
Okay. Now, this is what we're going to do. Each one of you, and you can do this in your own time. You don't need to do it now, but I just want you to make a note of what I'm asking you to do. And after this session, I want you guys to go do this. For every fear that you have, one by one, I want you to start asking yourself, what is the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? So let's take, for example, Harinandan. I'm going to take you as an example, okay? You mentioned your number 3, which is making a mistake and not being able to change it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, tell me, what is the worst that can happen? when you make a mistake and you can't change it, what is the worst that can happen?
The amount of guilty that you feel in your brain is what I think the most bad thing that can happen.
So when you feel guilty,
Yes.
what happens next?
I don't know about that, but like my brain basically tells me to correct it, but I'm not able to do that, and it actually makes kind of a sad
Mm.
emotion in
Mm.
my brain, and that comes to my body.
Okay.
I became sad.
Okay. And then you mentioned your second one, which is
Exams.
exams. What is the worst thing that can happen with an exam?
You can fail and stay in the same grade that you worked for the whole year.
And if you fail and stay in the same grade that you worked for the whole year, what would happen?
You'll get sad. You'll get scolded by your parents.
And what is the worst thing that can happen when you get scolded by your parents?
You became sad. You start crying.
Okay. And when you feel sad and you start crying, what happens next?
You'll tell yourself to do better next time and recover from that.
Okay. So what's the worst thing that can happen after that?
Fail again.
Okay. And if you fail again, what's the worst thing that can happen?
This cycle just continues. You start crying again.
Yeah. So when the cycle keeps continuing, what does that mean? Or what's the worst thing about that for you?
You f- uh, you feel the same thing that you try to change, but you are not able to do that.
Yeah. So in the first one that I asked you, you mentioned guilt.
Yes.
In the second one that I asked you, where you said you keep going in circle and you can't do anything about it, this is called helplessness. Okay? Now, I'm going to make your lives very, very, very easy now. So pay attention. There are actually only 4 very negative emotions for everybody. And I'm going to tell you what these 4 negative emotions are. Okay? Your job is, out of all the fears that you've written, your job is to keep asking yourself these questions until you get to one of the 4 negative emotions that I'm talking about. Because once you know which emotion it is, I will teach you how to flip it. So, what are the 4 negative emotions? The first negative emotion is guilt. Okay, I want you all to write this down. The first is guilt. So, after you feel guilt, you can't go less than that because that is one negative emotion. When do you feel guilty? You only ever feel guilty when it's your fault. When you feel you are responsible. Like it's my fault. I did something wrong. It's my responsibility. That's when you feel guilty. So anytime you keep asking what's the worst that can happen, what's the worst that can happen, and you come to a point where you realize, oh yeah, it's actually I feel guilty. Just like Harinandan said, I feel guilty. Then you know that is the core negative emotion for that fear. Okay? Now, whenever you feel guilty, the only way you can change guilt is by taking responsibility. You saying, you know what? You put your hands up. It's my fault. Correct? I'm completely responsible and I'll do something about it. So you take full ownership. It's my fault. I'll do something about it. That is the only way you can change guilt. Number 2, anger. Whenever you feel angry, know that you only feel angry because you don't think it's your fault. You think it's someone else's fault. Because someone did X, Y, and Z to you, when you feel like you're the victim of someone else's actions, that's when you feel angry. Whenever you feel angry, the only way to change anger is with acceptance. Only way to change anger is through acceptance, absolute acceptance of what has happened. No blaming, no saying it's your fault because of you, because of that, because of XYZ. No, just accepting, okay, this is a situation. This is what it is, accepting what it is. Number 3, helpless and hopeless. So this is what Harinandan said, his second example when he said cycle. You only feel helpless and hopeless when it's not your fault, it's not someone else's fault, it's just a situation. You can't do anything about it. So for example, COVID is an excellent situation. When COVID happened, no one can do anything, right? It's just what it is. So I can't, it's not my fault, it's not someone else's fault, it is. Everyone is suffering. It is the situation. Whenever you feel helpless or hopeless like that, the only way you can flip it is by motivation. You find motivation to do something, to take action. But it's motivation that helps you break out of it. Now the last one, before I go to the last one, all these 3, guilt, anger, helpless and hopeless, these 3 emotions only happen of things of the past. Okay? Now the last emotion, which is emotion number 4, this is what a lot of students face, which is anxiety. Anxiety comes in when it's a fear of the future. Something that has not happened yet, but it might happen in the future, like what Harinandan said. I might fail the exam. Or Fida said, exams. Right? How do you change anxiety? You change anxiety only with faith and trust. How do you build faith and trust? You do what you need to do. You do what is in your control. If you have an exam coming up, and you're thinking, oh my God, I might fail. What can you do that is in your control? You just need to ask yourself, anytime you feel fear, ask yourself, what can I do that is in my control? I can study. Can I go and steal the exam paper? No. Can I go and bribe the teacher? No. But what I can do is study. What I can do is I can make sure that I'm not procrastinating, watching TV, going on social media. I can make sure that I start studying maybe 2 months ahead instead of 1 week ahead. I can manage my time better. These are things in my control. When I do things in my control, then I know, you know what? I can sleep at night thinking I've done everything I had to do. Then if I fail, then that's my fate. Then at least I've done what I needed to do. So these are the 4 emotions that you only need to think about. So when I ask you to write the 3 things that make you scared, all you need to do is keep asking yourself, what is the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? And then ask yourself, okay, which emotion is this? Is it guilt? Is it anger? Is it helpless or hopeless? Or is it fear? Anxiety? And then once you've identified it, you flip it. Before I move on, does anybody have any questions about this?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
this clear?
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yes, tell me.
Ma'am, what if, as exams, what if more than one of the four things come up? For example, you are failing constantly at exams and you are angry at yourself.
Yeah,
So that's one. And the next one, you are hopeless that you
yeah,
keep on failing exams. And the next one, you might think that, oh my God, I might fail the next exam. Anxiety. So
yeah,
what should we do if more than one comes up?
yeah. I like your questions. It's an excellent question.
Yeah.
I think it was Einstein or some famous person who said this. Doing the same thing and expecting different results is insanity. So, which means anytime you feel like, okay, every time I go to an exam, I have the same fear that, oh, okay, what if this comes, this comes, this comes? I have the same fear, which means one thing that is constant is I have this fear every time I go to this exam. So, what am I doing that is the same? What am I not doing differently before each exam? And you will, no matter how much you try, there's always going to be something that you can do better. And you will know what it is. Either you can start studying earlier, either you can remove less distractions, maybe you need extra help or you didn't ask for it. Maybe you could have paid attention to classes when you were in classes. So, what am I trying to tell you? Like, what does this mean? Anytime there's a problem, your mind already knows what the solution is, but we don't want to accept it. There's always a way to make things better, but we need to be ready to do it. I've been in school and I know exactly what you mean. I'm the kind of person where when I was in school, when I know the stress level is increasing, then I start doing everything and I get all the energy to do it and I cramp up everything. And then I go to the exam and that's when I can study. That's how I train myself. But I always, after every exam, I tell myself, you know what? Next semester, I'm going to be so organized. I'm going to start studying from the first day onwards. How many people have said this in school? After every exam, I'm going to start being the best student. I'm going to start studying early. I'm going to start doing this so that I never have to stress before an exam. We've all been there. But this is also the problem. We make promises to ourselves, but we don't keep the promises. And this is exactly what athletes do not do. Because for athletes, they cannot just start training the day before and then win the race. They have to start training every single morning for weeks and months for them to get that Olympic medal. So if we pretend for 1 second and if we sit down and truly ask ourselves, what is really important to us and how badly do we want to get that? How really badly do we want to get it? Then you will do whatever it takes. We all want to be the first and get 90% and so on. We all want those high grades. We all want to make our parents happy. But if I tell you to do that, you need to start waking up early in the morning. You need to study for X number of hours every single day, even on holidays, even on weekends. And then if you do all of that, then you will get that. You'll be like, you know what? Actually, maybe like a 40% is not bad. If it's a pass, I'm good enough. Right? So, how do we train this part of our brain? How do we change this little lazy part of our brain to make things better, to do things better, to stick to our promises? This is where I want to teach you guys visualization. I'm going to give you guys 7 questions. And I want you to, in your own time, think about these 7 questions, really write down, and I want you to, using AI, you can put that description on AI and create an image. And you can take that image, print it out, cut it, put it on your door, put it on your phone, however you want. But I want you to create images out of this, characters out of this. And I want you to put this wherever you can see, because this is going to be your future identity. And this is how you build and become that future version of yourself by doing things that, let's start backwards. First you visualize. First you create that person you want to be, who is achieving everything that they want to achieve in their 90s, in their 90%, 100%, top class, whatever you want to be. That's your end goal. But then we're going to start working backwards and see what does it truly require to get there. So the first question is, I want you all to write down 10 characteristics of the highest version of yourself who you want to be. So the highest version of yourself that has, now since you guys are all in school, most likely you want to get into that top school. You want to become whatever you want to do in your career after university. I want you to think about that person. So 10 qualities about that person. I want you to write it down in your own time. You don't need to do it now. So 10 characteristics can be, maybe he or she is courageous, honest, a go-getter, disciplined. Whatever those 10 characteristics are, you're going to write it down. And next to each one, you're going to write in third person what they are doing. So for example, let's say my one characteristic, let's say courage, and my name is Nia. So I'm gonna write courage, and next to courage I'm going to say Nia is courageous because she is she is sticking to what she wants to do, even when other people are saying don't do it. So beside each one, you're going to write why. That is what I mean. So Nia is doing this because X, Y, and Z. If it's discipline, Nia is disciplined because she wakes up every morning at 6 a.m. and does not take a break. And she does this consistently. And she feels good about it. So like that, next to each one, you're going to write one sentence. Number 2. Is everybody with me? All good? Any questions so far?
No.
Good. Number 2. What does your relationship look like with your higher self 1 year in the future? So let's say, how connected are you with that person? What are you doing? So what I mean by relationship with yourself, if you imagine that highest version of yourself in 1 year's time, I want you to imagine what is she doing? What is he doing? What is he doing for himself? How is he like? What is the relationship he has with himself or herself? Is she happy? How does she take care of herself? What does she eat? What does that look like? So the question is, how does she take care of herself? That is a relationship. Number 3, how does that version of yourself, the highest version of yourself in 1 year, how does he or she relate to other people? How are they interacting with other people? How do other people interact with them when they're in that version of themselves? How do you interact with your mom and dad when you're in that version of yourself? So you will write that in detail. Number 4, what kind of career path do you imagine that kind of person going into? It can be multiple. It doesn't have to be one. It can be multiple. You can have multiple options. But focus more on how do they feel doing that. Let's say option 1 is doctor, option 2 is footballer, option 3 is a pet store owner. I want you to ask yourself, how do they feel, that highest version of yourself, how do they feel doing this job? How do they feel doing this job? How do they feel doing this job? What does that reality look like for them? And how do you feel? How are they creating an impact? Now, this highest version of yourself, what are they doing just for the sake of doing? What are their hobbies? For fun? What are they doing? Just no expectations. When they're not busy, what are they doing? Because that is also important. What activities do they do that makes them feel joyful, happy? That's number 5. Number 6, this highest version of yourself, where do they spend their time? Where are they hanging out? What are they doing with their time? What are they doing when they have, how do you see them spend their time? In what spaces are they going? What places are they going? Are they at home? Are they in school? Are they with friends? Like, where are they spending their time mostly? What does that look like? So this is all about creating the physical environment for that person. So you're thinking about what is the physical environment that they're in. Okay? Now the last one, what is their mental state on a consistent basis? That highest version of yourself, what is their mental state on a consistent basis? How does their body fitness look like? How does their health look like? What do they do? What are they doing to keep them in that state? Whether it's mentally alert, mentally calm, strong, not tired, energetic. What are they doing to make sure that they are in that state? What time are they sleeping? What are they eating? So these are the 7 questions as homework. It's so important, and I've done this with myself. Let me show you my screen. I used Gemini and I answered each question. I wrote them in clear details. And for number 1, the answer for my number 1, I asked, I uploaded a photo of myself and I asked Gemini to create an image of this version of myself for question number 1, for the characteristic. For each characteristic, I got them to make a image. And why image? Because your images go straight into your subconscious mind. So your logical mind is thinking very critically, but your subconscious mind, which is 90% of your mind, relates well to emotions and images. So when you look at an image with the colors, and it goes straight into your mind. So on my phone, I've created a grid with different characteristics. And so every time I open my phone, I see it. And it goes inside my head. It becomes a reminder. So like that, I want you to create images for each. So you know, okay, this is what I'm doing here. This is what my reality looks like. And with AI, you can do it so brilliantly. Anybody have any questions so far? I wanted to also share one more story because people relate to stories a lot more than just information. So there was a brother and sister back in very long time ago. This was around World War One or World War Two times. So this brother and so this was around the when Hitler was there. So around the Nazi camps and all of that, you know what happened, right? So so this brother and sister, they were Jewish. So they were together. So they were separated from their parents. The parents had died. So it was only the brother and sister. So it was in the winter. The brother and sister were together. So one day, when they were walking, the sister saw that the brother lost one shoe. And it was so cold, and the sister got so upset, like, oh my God, why did you lose your shoe? Now what are you going to do? It's cold, and started yelling at the brother. And the brother was upset, but what to do? And that same day, suddenly, the army people came and they separated the brother and sister somehow, accidentally. The brother sister got separated. The brother was sent to one camp and the sister was sent to one camp. And this was the last thing that the sister told the brother. So, since that day, the sister felt so sad because that was the last time that she saw the brother. And the last thing that she said to the brother was very nasty, mean. She was angry at the brother. And that was her biggest regret. So, since that day, she made a promise to herself that from this day onwards, I will make sure that any person I speak to, it will be as if it's my last time I'm speaking to them. I will make sure I am not angry. I will not say anything mean. I will not say anything nasty. It will be as if it's the last time I'm speaking to them. And she made sure that for the rest of her life, that she spoke pleasantly, she spoke kindly, and that became her greatest strength. So the moral of the story is anything can happen to you in life. It can be the worst situations, it can be the toughest situations, but you can always use it as a resource. And what you make out of that situation is completely in your control. You have full authority to decide whether a situation breaks you or you turn it into something. So, whether you fail an exam, whether you choose a career path, you go to university and you don't like it, whether you do something that you truly regret, take full ownership of your choices and that situation with full acceptance, with full gratitude, with full ownership, and do something about it. Make it a resource. And this story really touched me when I heard it for the first time. And this is something that I always think about anytime I go through a tough situation or something that I'm frustrated about, angry about. Know that there's always something in it that you can take. Whether it's and it can and I want you to think about using anything that happens on a day-to-day basis. Even as simple as your parents telling you something. Use it. Even if it hurts you, use it. If you, for example, if something really scares you, think about it. This is an opportunity for me to build courage. This is an opportunity for me to build strength. This is an opportunity for me to make a decision and be decisive. This is an opportunity to make a choice that I might be wrong about, but not regret it. So every situation is an opportunity that you can use. So I think that's the message that I have for everyone. And I'm open to answering any questions or any thoughts, even feedback. What did you guys think about today's sessions? What was your biggest takeaway, your biggest learnings? Anybody wants to share?
Ma'am, you gave us questions to answer as homework.
Yeah.
How do I document this into like a organized PDF or something like that?
You can use Word.
No, not like that. Should I do it question by question or all questions together?
No, do it one question at a time.
Okay, thanks.
Do it one question at a time. That will be a lot more organized, and you can, create images like that. Or else AI is not, it's smart, but it's not that smart.
Okay.
It'll be all confused.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else wants to share anything, or else we can close the session? All right, everyone. It was a pleasure sharing this platform with you, and I'm wishing you guys all the best and hopefully see you next time. And good luck.